Many people in the future will feel like Steve Jobs was largely responsible for Apple's innovation. His charisma helped create many of their products and carried them through their early years. Along with other co-founders, Steve Jobs led the company to success. However, the company faced a major shift when its charming leader chose Tim Cook to succeed him before he passed away from cancer. So if you want to know more about this, then this video is for you. For today's video, exclusive to our Fortune Fastlane members, we will be talking about the leadership style of Tim Cook. So without further ado, let's get into the video. There are certain leadership styles that produce success, while others will not. With new work requirements, there is progress in the sphere of leadership, and some will change how an organization should be viewed and the resulting approach to leadership. Leadership is diverse. A leader may use a different leadership style based on situations and objectives at hand. One style cannot be considered preferable to others because workplace demands are diverse, with different missions and visions. The entrepreneurial genius Steve Jobs founded Apple and resigned from the company, but then came back in 1997 to restore it to unparalleled success levels. Jobs' leadership style was largely authoritarian, and he would constantly scrutinize employees to ensure perfection in pursuit of the desired results. Tim Cook, the current CEO of Apple, has a democratic leadership style. This means that he allows employees to function independently based on their skills and experiences. He is having a good impact on Apple, where its valuation has reached the highest in contemporary times. The study compares two leadership styles at Apple, those of Steve Jobs and Tim Cook. In 1970s, Steve Jobs co-founded Apple with his friends Steve Wozniak and Ronald Wayne. Jobs resigned from the company in 1985, but returned a few years later to help save it. He was CEO when the company's share price began to decline and it faced imminent bankruptcy. Nevertheless, he implemented a successful restructuring program that made Apple competitive among other companies in the market. As a visionary, Steve Jobs narrowed Apple's product line to 4 products. This allowed the company to focus and specialize, gaining a competitive advantage. For example, when Steve Jobs returned in 1997, he released the 1998 iMac and sold 800,000 units in less than 6 months. He pioneered different mobile phone applications for Apple and stayed ahead of the competition for quite some time. Steve Jobs, for instance, is responsible for the iTunes Music Store and App Store. These are revolutionary tools that have impacted the way people use music and mobile apps respectively. Additionally, Jobs helped make mobile operating systems more accessible through the introduction of innovative software. This was unheard of before he launched his work. Based on the evidence, it is clear that Jobs was a visionary leader who knew what customers wanted and innovated to meet demands. Apple has continued on the growth trajectory under the leadership of Tim Cook. 5 years after Cook took over as the CEO in 2012, the company has almost doubled its market capitalization to stand at $800 million. This figure places Apple at the pinnacle of the most valuable public company around the world. Cook has taken a different approach to leadership as compared to his predecessor Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs created revolutionary products throughout his life. Tim Cook instead focuses on the iPhone in order to drive profits for the company. Additionally, Cook expanded Apple's market share, focusing on China and other emerging markets to ensure steady growth for many years to come. Apple is now involved in social justice and charitable events. They are abandoning their culture of not donating money since they already pay enough in taxes. For instance, in 2014, Tim Cook revealed that he is gay, which came out as a huge boost to the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender movement. Before Steve Jobs died, Apple was one of the most innovative companies in the world. Under Steve Jobs, Apple came up with the user-friendly products that challenge how we see and use technology. After he died, Tim Cook's company reflected his change over time. Apple started to innovate less and start working on other things too. Tim Cook followed a democratic leadership style at Apple since he took over in 2012. After taking the helm at Apple, Cook focused on existing products, especially iPhones, and nurturing business and personal relationships with employees. Whereas Cook does not see micromanaging employees or getting involved in the levels of running the company fit for him, Cook's predecessor claims to have made a habit out of it. Cook emphasized consensual decision-making during his tenure as CEO. For example, in the company's engineering of the iWatch, Cook took care of the details surrounding it, and he also led the push for the corporate social responsibility, with Apple now involved in different exercises. This is in contrast to Steve Jobs, who was not known for compromise. Under Cook, Apple is now involved in different corporate social responsibility exercises, which underline the democratic leadership style. According to Lanshinsky, Cook has used the pulpit that provided him by Apple's worldwide platform to opine on subjects as diverse as human rights, access to education, female representation on Wall Street, immigration reform, and privacy rights. Steve Jobs' leadership style has led to limited innovativeness and slow decision-making at the company. Phil Schuyler, the head of worldwide marketing, told his team that Apple will never be the first to do something as long as I'm alive. He was quoted as saying shortly after being part of an executive session with the customers and designers. However, after Tim Cook's leadership, Apple seems to be moving in the right direction. Cook and Jobs were two types of leaders when it came to the personality method. Unlike Jobs, who was very outspoken on design, Cook is more focused on finance and social good. Although Apple under Cook has a more relaxed workplace environment than Apple under Jobs, staffers said that Cook is similarly demanding and detail-oriented. The CEO's attention to detail causes underlings to enter meetings with trepidation, and Cook's precision has reshaped how Apple staff work and think. The Journal adds, middle managers today screen staff before meetings with Mr. Cook to make sure they're knowledgeable. First-timers are advised not to speak. It's about protecting your team and protecting him. You don't waste his time, said a longtime lieutenant. If he senses someone is insufficiently prepared, he loses patience and says next, as he flips a page of the meeting agenda. This person said, adding, people have left crying. Cook reportedly got frustrated that Apple shipped 25 computers to South Korea instead of Japan. Cook warned that, we're losing our commitment to excellence if we can't even ship 25 computers in the right place. Apple executives like Steve Jobs used to visit the design studio quite often. Now, Apple executives rarely visit. There was a meeting in 2012 to review an early Apple Watch prototype, and Tim Cook was absent. It would be unthinkable for such a meeting where Tim Cook was present under Jobs. Cook is more willing to give back some of the money Apple has raised to investors, with a preference for research and development. This includes a dinner between Cook and Carl Icahn that ended in desserts decorated with Apple logo cookies. Though Cook works very hard and does not partake in personal events, his coworkers said that he is a humble person. He is committed to Apple, and that is the only way he lives his life, as he does not socialize outside of work. Cook was more of a supportive person that will process before making decisions, whereas Jobs would be considered more of an aggressive person. Jobs was full force, dominant, and fast-moving, while Cook tended to take his time and invite others into the conversation. While Jobs led the fast-paced, fiery enthusiasm, Cook often leads with patience and practicality. Though many people worried that without Jobs' innovative ideas and presentations, Apple would fail, Cook helped the company become a worldwide household name. According to CNBC, Apple stocks had increased by 480% since 2011 when Cook became CEO, which indicates how successful he has been as the leader of the company. The first company in the world to reach a market cap of $1 trillion, Apple is now known globally, not only for its generating-defining technology, but also for the way the organization is run. Here are some of Tim Cook's strengths as a stabilizer that have impacted the way in which he leads Apple. He steps back to listen and let others share. He shows great care for the values and philanthropy of the company. He asks questions to draw out important information. He takes his time to process information before making a decision. He expanded on what Apple was already good at. Cook is open to hearing other people's thoughts and ideas. He is able to set aside his own bias rather than constantly assuming he is right. Cook helped lead Apple toward a more inclusive company, that allowed all types of people to thrive. Notably, Cook is more of a delegator. He trusts the staff of Apple to have relevant opinions and expertise on specific topics, and he is less involved to the day-to-day details of product development. When Tim Cook became CEO, he pursued an environmental consciousness. Now, Apple is working to improve the conditions of workers by promoting factory regulations, and also exploring how technology can better healthcare and well-being. While this has seemed to bring stress to shareholders at times, with one columnist summing up many of the views, writing that it isn't necessarily inappropriate for shareholders from an ROI point of view. It has helped set an example for many other major companies. If a company is massive, its progress should be felt by suppliers as well. Apple's corporate sustainability efforts have provided an influential example to other companies as well as helped them utilize resources more efficiently. Apple has a positive tendency to encourage departments outside of their limits to work on issues such as waste reduction and sustainability. Cook's focus on values has changed how Apple treats user data. Cook refuses to release any user data, even to law enforcement, which places more importance on security. Cook has faced criticism due to other companies like Facebook compromising their users' data and adding them as advertisers. Rather than just taking things at face value, Cook's stabilizer personality helps him dig deep in an attempt to get to the bottom of a problem or push teammates to learn more about a situation. In the book, Tim Cook, the genius who took Apple to the next level, Greg Joswiak, Apple's vice president of product marketing, is quoted as saying, "He's just very calm, steady, but will slice you up with questions. You better know your stuff." Cook's ability to ask questions has helped ensure credibility and make sure employees were knowledgeable. This authenticated the product and improved its reliability and success. Cook is a patient and thorough thinker. Former Chief Designer Officer Jonathan Ive described Cook as projecting a quiet consideration. Cook carefully weighs his options rather than rushing to conclusions, which was more common under Jobs' leadership. His ability to spend more time on big projects has led Apple products to be both stable and reliable, and these qualities are important for stabilizers like Cook. Jobs is a world-changing inventor, and people underestimated how much more success there would be with his ideas. Cook succeeded Jobs in 2011, and many people predicted disaster. However, Cook had been able to keep Apple at the top of the ladder by only leveraging their original ideas. Though Apple has come out with plenty of new equipment in Cook's time as CEO, there hasn't been a big game changer like the first iPhone. But despite this, Apple has seen unprecedented growth and expansion thanks to Cook's ability to push for the continual improvement of an investment in Apple's primary products. Apple's shift is evidenced by its products. The company has largely failed to release the type of marketing disruptive products that Jobs was famous for. Apple has dominated the accessory market, creating the Apple Watch, AirPods, and services like Apple Music. The Apple Watch even outsold other watches in the world, while AirPods accounted for a large number of headphones sold in 2019. Tim Cook's leadership has helped build Apple in the technology and product empire. His focus has been on knowledge, reliability, and long-term stability, which has made Apple more trustworthy and valuable to the public. His form of leadership is the legacy that will carry Apple through the transition from him to someone else's turn. There you have our Fortune Fastlane video for today. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and like this video. If you think that we have delivered value, please share this video with one person. Just one share is enough for us, for you to show your appreciation for the commitment and hard work we all put together in creating this video that teaches and helps you on your mission of building your own fortune. And you don't know that one share could go a long way. Keep in mind that no matter how many times you're going to watch this video, you won't see any results unless you take action. Goodbye and see you in the next one.